You're listening to the Everyone's Wrong podcast. We leave trigger warnings, safe spaces, political correctness behind to explore the extremes of political discourse.
Hey, you fucks. You're listening to Everyone's Wrong. I'm your host for tonight, Dustin, from these cold, dead hands dark. And tonight, I am joined by...
As always, Dave, a.k.a. the Great White North.
And our guest tonight is...
Christopher, because y'all do that whole middle name thing. But I guess that bitch had it coming. Dark.
Oh, shit.
You son of a bitch.
God damn, that got dark quick.
Holy fuck.
Welcome to the darker edition of Everyone's Wrong. If you're noticing the similar last name, Chris here is my older brother. He is the eldest of the Dark Clan of my generation, anyway. So
better looking, too.
So, fuck you, Dave. Fuck you right in your fucking pale Canadian ass. Chris, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself? And you know what, before we get into that, Ed isn't with us tonight. He wanted me to say hi to everybody. He has some, family issues going on. There's been a death, and not in his direct, but, sort of extended family. And he's tending to that. So Chris is filling in.
Listen, do it properly. Ed is at a Newfie wake, which is basically like, have you ever seen the movie Snatch?
I have seen the movie Snatched before, yes.
Do you remember the Pikey wake? Where they're all fucking hammered and sloshy and... Do you remember that? Yes, okay.
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
That's basically a Newfie wake.
That's a Newfie wake. Well, that sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any Catholics down here, because we still burn them at the stake. This is Protestant land, and we're not fucking playing about that. So I don't know much about how Catholics get down with that type of thing.
They get drunk.
Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
That would have helped me in the fucking last one we went to. How about that, Chris? Fucking hell.
Yeah, it would have.
All right, so anyway, you fuck. Tell me about yourself.
Well, there ain't much to tell. I'm the oldest of five. I am a biker. I ride with Iron Order. Just a regular asshole that's got a little more opinion than I got used for, I guess.
Okay, well, we're going to be talking about guns tonight. Has your opinion on guns changed since you joined the Iron Order?
A little bit. I used to really just not give a shit, but I tell you what, I've grown to appreciate him.
You've grown to appreciate him. Are you like a 1%er club? What's up on that?
Not a 1%er club.
Okay. So let's be clear here. You guys sell all your meth off the books, right?
No, we sell T-shirts, ball caps, and shit of that nature.
And fucking koozies, yeah.
And yes, yeah. You know what? I got some custom koozies coming in the mail very short.
Okay.
So yeah. That's how we are. Instead of guns and meth, the dildo sells. Pretty good, actually.
Pretty good. Okay, that's fascinating.
People like dildos used?
Yeah. They kind of broke in and a little more comfortable.
Yeah, okay.
They slide in a little easier.
Like an old pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Fucking old, worn out. Like there was veins on the outside of it, but now they're just kind of speed bumps.
Now you fucked them up?
Type of dildo. Oh, yeah. Just like fucking right off. With the anal cavity, too. Let's be honest. Let's be fair here. It's all in the anal cavity. All right.
I was going to be like, what kind of shoes has veins on the outside? Jesus Christ.
The good kind.
All right. So, I guess that's pretty good for the intro. I guess next we're going to talk about Trudeau LARPing across India, and and then we're cap it off. We're gonna play some clips from the town hall that we had in Florida. So let's get into it, guys.
All right. Okay. I don't think I'm just gonna talk about Trudeau. Would you say LARPing? I'm gonna say dressing like a fucking asshole.
Okay, well, LARPing is live action role playing.
Oh, okay.
It's like dressing up.
Oh, yeah.
As medieval and like. Yeah. He's cosplaying India.
Yeah. He's cosplaying. He's cosplaying Indian.
Okay.
I saw a joke. It said, remember our doll Prime Minister Stephen Harper when he would go and visit a foreign country, not wear one?
No, I don't know about that because I'm an American and fuck Canada. No, not fuck Canada, not fuck Canada, but I just, it's not like you're the leader of the free world or like the world's most dominant military or even like the world's largest GDP, or anything.
Okay, so
what's the word? Hold on. What's the word? I'm searching for a word. Anything, significant. Okay.
Significant.
So it's not like fuck you guys. It's like you're not significant in my world.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm more worried about Mexico. Because at least they have violence. Okay. At least they have violence. Like the worst you guys are going to do is export 2-inch maple syrup. What are the Canadians going to do?
No. We'll write a letter.
Oh! You got a sternly. Oh, here you go, sir. Got a sternly written letter from the Canadians.
Don't underestimate the letter writing skills of a Canuck. That's all I'm going to say.
Well,
that's all I'm going to say.
I do love free toilet paper, so you just send it right away, Dave.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
okay.
It'll be, yeah.
I know as an artist you have some really nice paper around, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So next segment.
Next segment is going to be you and Trudeau explaining to a couple Americans why you're maybe as embarrassed as we are about Trump. Let's find out.
Well, I'm embarrassed in different ways. But
well, certainly
embarrassed, yeah, but truly, honestly embarrassed, disgusted actually by his behavior in India. It's like we'll put pictures or we'll put articles so that you guys can look at the pictures. But I mean, this jackoff is wearing fucking outfits that the Indians haven't worn since the '60s.
Mm-hmm.
Think of like the pale fucking blue tuxedo that like the really geeky guy wears to the dance.
Yeah,
he gets no chicks. He basically wears that of the Indians.
Well, I'll tell you what. If some fucking foreign leader showed up like cosplaying as a hippie, I might kind of be down with that.
Yeah.
I might kind of be down with that. Yeah.
Maybe. But, they step off the fucking plane. They're doing like the Hindu pray thing. And it's not like he did it once. It's like every fucking stop he does. He's got his kids there all dressed up in fucking Indian clothing. Every chance he's got, he's doing some kind of Sikh prayer, some kind of Hindu prayer. That's not what he is. He shouldn't be and the problem with this is that he went there to get some trade deals done, but they don't like him. And there's a reason why they don't like him. They didn't like him before he got there. And this just made it a lot worse. So there's a group in India, they're Sikhs and they're separatists. And they want to split India up. And Trudeau has gone on record as being supportive of them, along with Trudeau's defense minister, who's also a Sikh, but part of I guess his family's part of the group that wants to separate. So it would be like somebody saying, because around 47% of Quebec always wants to separate from the rest of Canada. It would be like a foreign leader saying, I support the Quebecers that want to leave Canada, and then coming here and asking to be fucking friends or trading partners with us. It's just not something that you would do.
So they're like Texans to us.
Yes.
or Californians.
California,
yeah. Well, the whole fucking West Coast wants to split off.
Except here's the issue.
I'd say
it's kind of like that. Except they have groups of terrorists within these Sikhs who have committed terrorist acts and killed Hindus and committed terrorist acts on Canadian soil. Speaking of which, Justin invited one of these terrorists to a dinner party in India. A convicted terrorist in Canada. He was convicted of setting up one of an Indian MP here in Canada on Vancouver Island. He was shot twice. So he was convicted of attempted murder and an act of terrorism. Not only did the guy do that, but the group that he's involved with is also on Canada's terrorist watch list as a banned group. And not only that, he was arrested not that long ago for frauding people out of some kind of car deal, like one of those curbside fucking car deals. And Justin Trudeau invites him to a dinner where his wife proceeds to take fucking selfies with him.
Well, come on. He is Castro's son. No, I'm just kidding. No, no, I mean, it's kind of family tradition to get along with terrorists, isn't it?
No, actually it isn't. His dad,
didn't go hang out with Castro? He didn't go hang out with Castro.
Well, he did hang out with Castro, but not terrorists.
Okay, so Castro wasn't a terrorist uprising that that won?
Yeah, but not in Canada. So, okay, I guess that's a good point, but it's complicated because, Canada had terrorists.
Okay, well, did this guy, okay, you're going to say that his father cracked down on the terrorists in Quebec. But,
in Quebec, yes.
Yeah, okay, so are the terrorists that he's hanging out with, are they terrorists in their own country? Whose country have they committed terrorist acts in?
The ones that Vagina Senior's hanging out with is in other countries. Vagina Junior is hanging out with terrorists from his own country and importing terrorists back.
Okay, no, we actually covered that he was, if you didn't know this, Chris, our northern border, the one that we're not talking about putting a wall on, the one that we're very happy to let people fucking drift across from time to time, and we don't really be a dick about it because they're a nice first world country. They actually invite their defected citizens that join ISIS to come back peacefully and
to be rehabilitated.
And if they are watching them, they won't admit that they're watching them all.
All right, we're not war with them because their tans aren't dark enough. So
their tans aren't dark enough. No, Chris, I'm fucking.
We don't watch the northern border because
he's saying we're white. That's
white.
why you're not watching the northern border.
Right.
Yeah.
I disagree with that. I think we're not watching the northern border because the closest countries in the world are us and Canada.
Canada and the U.S., yes.
And I mean that. Like, we are closer to Canada almost than England is with Canada, and they're kind of the same.
No, it is. It is. The U.S. is far closer to Canada than England. The English used to think they were better than us, and now we're a better country than them, and we haven't forgotten that they thought that they were better than us.
Oh, Dave is, by the way, Chris, Dave is my type of immigrant. He immigrated to Canada very young, and you see, he's not flying the fucking Union Jack behind him there. The listeners at home can't see, but Dave has a Canadian flag behind him. When we go video, that'll be there. He is a very patriotic immigrant to Canada. When you compare that to our immigrants in the United States, I know I'm way off topic here, Chris. Like, how many of them like don't want to speak the language and fly the fucking flag of their old country? You know what I mean? And, like, Dave is one of the most patriotic Canadians that I have ever fucking met. Not that I've met. It's a great country. And he gives great blowjobs. He's not teethy at all. You can tell that there's years of experience there. Very gentle. But you know, back to why.
Yeah.
back to why Trudeau is the opposite type of embarrassment of Trump. So
yes,
he invites terrorists back in the country. He fucking LARPs as whatever country he's in while he's there. He did the equivalent of saying that Texas should secede if they want to, and then showed up dressed up as a cowboy complete with spurs.
Yelling yeehaw as he got off the plane.
Yelling yeehaw! It is the fucking. I'll say this, like, as a non-Canadian. Fuck, it's great. It is great, dude.
Yeah. I'm thoroughly embarrassed, and Dustin knows this. Chris, you probably don't know this, but my in-laws are South Asians.
Okay.
My wife is half South Asian. Her dad is South Asian. And I wanted to know if there was any historical or traditional value or significance to the outfits that the Trudeaus were wearing. So I called up my father-in-law, and over the phone we looked through the pictures. I looked at the same time, and he's like, no, nothing there. And my father-in-law is a staunch conservative. We get to this one photo, and it's of Trudeau's wife and his daughter. Now, do you know what a bindi is, Chris?
No.
You know the red dot that Indian women wear on their forehead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what that's for?
It means they're married or something.
Yeah, it's to tell everybody that they're married. They
What's
had
this?
his fucking.
Hold on. What's this? A random biker from the Southeast United States knows that? Go on, Dave.
Yeah, I didn't know that shit either. Anyways, they had it on his 10-year-old daughter, and my father-in-law was like, little girls in India wouldn't wear that. It's to tell people whether or not she's married. So not only are they usurping somebody's fucking culture and clothing, they're fucking doing it wrong.
Well, hold on. In Trudeau's defense, and I'm gonna mount a defense for him here.
Okay.
He is fully in support of Islam. Okay.
Yes.
So this may be a show of support for child marriages.
Well, I'm sure in his culturally, what's the word I'm looking for? All cultures are the same. What's the word for that?
Cultural relativism.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a cultural relativist. Like, he has to be, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure in his mind, it's just because they live in a different country that they marry children, and if they were just, in a different country, it wouldn't happen. Sure.
Here's another Trudeau gem for you, Chris. Quote, "If you kill your enemies, they win." Unquote.
So, the problem is, like, with this is that he can't get a fucking deal done anywhere, right? It's like, you can't get fucking NATO done because the Americans are bringing business to the table, and he wants to talk about equal pay between the genders and indigenous rights. No, motherfucker, you're here to talk trade. You talk about that shit in your country, okay? So, majority of my people voted him in. So, for the time being, they get to talk all the bullshit they want in Canada. They can talk fucking crazy all they fucking want. But when it comes to fucking money, shut your fucking pie hole. Get the deal with the Americans done. Like, I would have never thought that a deal between Canada and America would be so fucking hard. They've been hammering at this for 18 fucking... Or how long has Trump been in? Since Trump got in. 18 months?
It's been... No. He showed up in January, so that's 12, 13, 14, maybe 15 months at the most.
15 months. Yeah. It just... Like, how do you not get a deal done with the Americans? Like, I just don't... Like, there's never not been a deal with the Americans.
Well, I'm sure people on our side would blame Trump. People on our side would blame Trump.
Well, okay, I do blame Trump for it as well. Like, but he should be even if Trump's being a dick, there should still be a way to get this done, right? Like, Trump was bitching about NAFTA before he was even in power, saying it was the worst deal ever, even though since the inception of NAFTA, trade has more than I can't remember the exact percentage, but just understand that it's a lot fucking bigger, and everybody thought it was going to be a disaster. Canada didn't want to get into it because they thought we were getting fucked. The U.S. citizens thought they were getting fucked, and it's been nothing but fantastic. So, and then he goes to fucking China, because he can't get a deal done with fucking Trump. And he brings his fucking SJW feminist fucking equal pay bullshit to fucking China. And China's like, what? Go the fuck home. So I guess he figures, well, since none of that worked, I'm going to head to fucking India. I'm going to dress up like a cunt. I'm going to waltz around the country acting like a goddamn fucking cunt. I'm going to bring terrorists that killed or tried to kill Hindus to dinner, parade him around, try to get business deals done with the guy. Like, what the fuck? Seriously. This is not a smart person. Call Trump what you want, but he can get a deal done.
But he has a high emotional intelligence quotient.
I'm
Dave.
starting to fucking doubt that too.
Which is something they said about him during, what was it, his campaign, Dave?
Well, when he was campaigning, a liberal party member was on an American news program, and they were asking the Liberal Party member, because his dad Pierre, for all his faults, was known as having a superior intellect and a quick wit. Like, if you said something to him, he could fire something back very fast. So anyways, the reporter asked the Liberal Party member, Trudeau Sr. has been known for his high intellect and his quick wit. Can you say the same thing about Justin? And she goes, well, you can say he has a high emotional IQ. I think he'd admit to that.
That's like saying you should date my friend. She's really funny and smart.
Yes. Yes. So, and back at home, it just came out that all policies are he's trying to get this through, but they have a majority, so it's probably gonna go through. All policies from now on are going to be based on gender. Like, it doesn't even make fucking sense. What the fuck are you talking about? And he's like one of the crazy feminists that oppose, or what is it? Not oppose, but espouse fucking that there's no difference between men and women. So why would you need gender-based policies if there's no difference between men and women?
You shouldn't.
Right?
And you're talking about a particular article. I believe first they're supposed to go about making sure everything addresses gender properly, and then world peace.
Yeah. Well, the world peace thing was a joke.
Oh, was it? Okay, I just read the headline there.
Yeah. No, the Globe and Mail was taking the piss.
The best part about that is that it was believable. I believe that Justin Trudeau would sit there and go, first, we're going to make men and women symmetrical to each other, and then we're going to fix all of the world's problems. Oh. I can see that. He's that type of, like, nothing but platitude politician.
Yeah, you started this off asking me if I was embarrassed as you guys are as having Trump. I would say I'm as embarrassed, but for different reasons. But I don't think our peoples, the two nations here on this island away from the rest of the fucks, could have picked two worse cunts to run our countries.
Because fuck Mexico. Yeah. I agree.
It could have been worse.
It could have been worse. I mean, we could literally have like Stalin and Hitler, I suppose.
Yeah, but not out of the candidates that were running, right? Like, he's the worst choice out of who was running.
You know what? That's probably true. I mean,
I remember somebody talking about Wi-Fi causing brain cancer, so it by all means could have been worse.
That was Jill Stein.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Ben Carson was pretty bad too.
Excuse
me.
He can count to banana through God.
I mean, and storing that grain in the pyramids and all.
Yeah. But I mean, like, when Trudeau was voted in, Harper had really been being a dick, and like he was not very diplomatic, and there were some things levied against him about being undemocratic, and a lot of the policies and a lot of things that he did were really undemocratic. I was like, I didn't vote for Justin Trudeau, but I was like, okay, fine. This guy won. How bad can it be? He said he's going to lift the shit off the scientists, and apparently they have a plan for the economy. So it can't be that bad, right? Well, I was fucking wrong, because this is ridiculous. Like, I think he has fucking, what's her name there? Squiggly Puff? Is it Squiggly Puff?
Triggerly Puff.
What is it? Triggerly Puff?
Yes.
In his office, just making suggestions. I swear, they go to a university and they have a room full of SJW children, and they're just like, how should we fuck the country today? And then they fucking, they just start lobbing shit out. I'm just itching my foot there.
Yeah, your foot.
My dick, my balls, cock and balls. If I was Trudeau, I would say I'm scratching my vagina.
I'm gonna grab a beer. Talk.
All right. Well, do you want to take? Okay, we'll take 5 seconds.
Yeah, because I want to pour some more whiskey.
And I actually wanted to talk about Justin Trudeau before as well, like after his town hall meetings. Did you see any of that stuff, Dustin?
Any of his town hall meetings? No.
Like not the actual town hall meetings, but the backlash afterwards.
Okay.
No?
I don't. How about this? Enlighten Chris, myself, and the audience. Just let everybody know what the fuck. Because once again, insignificant. Go ahead.
You don't care. Okay. Insignificant. I get it. Yeah. America probably cares more about Canada than Alabama. Just so you know.
No, that's not true. Like, we have the largest percentage of people that blew off their own fingers making homemade grenades. So they may not like us, but they definitely care that we're here. Oh man.
Anyways, when Justin Trudeau was elected, Stephen Harper had been battling veterans groups in courts because he had cut a lot of the benefits, and the veterans groups said it was unconstitutional, yada, yada, yada. Flash forward to Justin Trudeau getting into office. On the campaign trail, he went to the vets and said, I promise you, you will never have to fight for anything that you've earned and you deserve. Well, as soon as he got into office, not only did he break that promise, but he actually added lawsuits to the court cases. Give me 1 second. I'm going to play some audio of that.
Flash check. I'm a retired corporal with the Princess Patricia Canadian Light Infantry out of here in Edmonton, 1st Battalion. I served in the Canadian Armed Forces for 7 years. I deployed in Afghanistan back in 2009 until April 3rd, where I was obviously severely wounded by a roadside bomb or improvised explosive. As you can see, I've lost my left leg. I have 58% soft tissue loss and 88% nerve damage on my right leg. Back in August 24th, 2015, you made the promise, and I'll quote it here, no veteran will be forced to fight their own government for the support and compensation they have earned. Yet you are still currently in a legal battle with veterans regarding equal support and compensation to their peers. You have ISIL or ISIS members coming into a reintegration program. You did a backdoor deal with Omar Khadr with not even stepping into the courtroom. Because honestly, Mr. Prime Minister, I was prepared to be injured in the line of duty when I joined the military. Nobody forced me to join the military. I was prepared to be killed in action. What I wasn't prepared for, Mr. Prime Minister, is Canada turning its back on me.
On a couple of elements you brought up. First of all, why are we still fighting against certain veterans groups in court? Because they are asking for more than we are able to give right now. They are asking for more than we... Well, no. Hang on. You're asking for honest answers. Why are we still fighting against certain veterans groups in court? Because they are asking for more than we are able to give right now.
How do you stare a veteran that lost his leg fighting in a foreign land for his fucking flag, look him in the face after telling him that they would never have to fight their government again, and tell him that he's asking for too much? How the fuck do you do that?
So a couple things here. It's a realistic, but there's like a certain emotional plea going on here. Like what exactly are they asking for, and what are they being denied?
They're asking for equal pay between the different sections in military. That's it. That's all they're asking for.
Equal pay during the different.
Yeah, like okay, just say you're in Navy and the other guy's in Army. So like some platoons are getting compensated higher. But not like the ranks, because that's obviously going to be
okay.
They're going to get higher pay, and they're asking for a better pension. They're not asking for
okay, pension. Well, I mean, do you think that like a Marine and a Army guy and an Air Force guy they'll create the same value for the Army?
We don't have Marines. Our Army is our Army.
Did you just have one Army, like one branch?
Okay, so like the Army is the land, the Navy is the sea,
well, yeah,
and the Air Force is the air. So everybody that's in the Army should be compensated pretty close to each other. You know? Okay,
but not according to I guess. I mean, the military isn't a capitalist system, so I can feel you there. I can feel you there. But at the same time, should extra pay be used as a motivating factor to get people into more desirable or positions and things that aren't necessarily climbing up rank?
Sure, but okay, so they're talking about like guys that are injured and not like these veterans groups aren't talking about pay for active service members.
Okay,
they're talking about equal pay and pension.
Okay. So yes, if you're hurt on duty, if you're or even if you've retired, well. Yeah. Based on how far. Okay. Yes. Okay. That's all. That's what
they're asking.
That's all very fair. Okay. I can get on board with that. Okay.
So how? Again, I will reiterate my question. How do you look at a man that lost his fucking leg fighting for his country and tell him he's being greedy? How do you do that?
It's a politician.
Well. Okay. I know that, like me personally, if somebody comes up with that type of emotional plea, I'm gonna put up guards, which is why I put up guards here, right? Well,
but he was emotional though. It wasn't like I know you didn't.
An emotional plea doesn't mean it's fake emotion. Like he's genuinely emotional. But to make a plea based off of there is an emotional pull to it. Let's be honest. Okay, yes. So just someone doing that makes me personally throw up my guard. That's all I'm saying. But because I'm gonna be playing some clips tonight, Dave, where you have children that were just in a school shooting, and then someone can easily say, "How can you look in these kids' faces?" And say to them, "So I hear the same language. So
but it's. So I want to know same scenario.
Well, which is why I asked for specifics.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. The difference here is that this was a campaign promise that was made back in 2015, so everybody's had plenty of time to think about him breaking the promise.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, it's about equal pension pay, and I think that they have every right to be angry that he lied to them and took them to court. I have another clip. Or do you have something to say?
No, well, the campaign promise is actually the biggest thing on this. Is that he swore he would address this problem and he didn't. And I try not to judge politicians based on how I think they're doing. I try to base them on how they are stacking up to the promises that they were elected on.
Yeah, sure.
So that makes it a more egregious offense to me that he's going against his constituency on that. Okay. Yeah. So go, if you have a second.
Yeah, I had a problem with him calling the guy greedy. Yeah. So did you guys hear about the people kind debacle?
No.
I guess not. No. Okay. Well, this one's 2 minutes. Let's just have a little listen here.
That religious charitable organizations have in our legislation so that it can also be changed, because maternal love is the love that's going to change the future of mankind. So we'd like you to look
we would like to say people kind, not necessarily mankind, because it's more inclusive.
There we go. Exactly. Yes, thank you.
We can all learn from each other.
Jesus Christ.
That's that high emotional IQ shining through, Chris.
Nobody says people kind. Even the hardcore feminists don't say people kind.
Why?
They don't. No one says it. They say humankind or womankind. Nobody ever said people kind. No. You dumb motherfucker.
The whole point of mankind is to be inclusive.
Yes.
Instead of saying man, like that is the inclusive version. You cunt. You cunt. Oh my god. That's embarrassing as well.
And to correct her, she's talking mid-sentence and he corrects her. But here's the one of the other issues that I took with that was that she said maternal love is going to change the future. He had no problem with her not addressing the fatherly love, but when she said man, he corrected her and said people. So he has no problem with language that excludes men, but a huge problem with language that excludes a woman.
Are you sure we're not embarrassed of our leaders for strikingly similar reasons? Like, ideological diarrhea of the mouth, horrendous foreign policy exchanges, like interpersonally. Complete limp-dicked when it comes to fucking foreign trade. And largely speaking, abandoned the somewhat populist base that voted for him. Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure we're not embarrassed for the same reasons? I get that it's a different ideology and a different populace, but it's
a different embarrassment though, because he's saying, like, your guy's saying, like,
yes, somewhat racist things. But your guy is saying somewhat disparaging things against your people. It's directing the same prejudice in a different direction. Is all it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just okay. So Trump might throw a bunch of fucking nods towards the Christians. Well, Trudeau throws a bunch of nods towards the Muslims. Which frankly, I think we win on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. And the last thing that I want to touch on, which is pretty fucking, like, to me it's super funny. You guys won't find it as funny, but he has put up so much red tape that we lost the Energy East pipeline. We basically lost the Kinder Morgan, the one that was going to be going down to you guys. So there was one pipeline left, and it's the Trans Mountain. It heads over to the Pacific Ocean, and he's said that he's going to get it done. He hasn't gotten it done. So, and the only reason why, at a quick glance, BC's kind of in the way, and they're writing unconstitutional legislation to keep Albertans from building the pipeline, which is keeping Albertans from working. Alberta's basically our Texas. It's where all our cowboys are. Most of the guns, the militias, they got a lot of money backing them. And BC's the hippies. So it's basically Texas versus California.
I see. Huh.
And Trudeau is not, and instead of taking care of this problem that is going to generate $15 billion a year into our economy, he's over in fucking India dressed up like a fucking Bollywood fucking jag-off, fucking Bollywooding, dancing like a retard in front of the fucking microphones instead of getting the fucking pipeline done. Get home, kick the fucking hippies in the nuts, quit being an empty suit. At least take some of the shit from your dad. Like, the dad got some stuff done. Get back here and get some shit done, you fucking cuck.
Look, at least his dad had the balls to let Castro fuck his wife.
Yes. Sure.
Sure.
Okay.
I think they were in an open relationship, those two.
Yeah, I know. She fucked Mick Jagger. She fucked the Kennedy.
Yeah.
You know, I read all about it. To seeing if the whole Castro thing had any weight to it. And I'm going to say, listeners, why don't you find out for yourself? That's one I'm not interested in debunking. I'm not interested.
Listen,
debunking that.
The suicide note has not been debunked.
No. No one can say that it definitely didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, you can't prove that a note didn't exist. So there's always hope.
No. So for the listeners, apparently, Castro's son, when he killed himself, left the suicide note stating that Castro was in fact Justin Trudeau's father, and that
allegedly.
No, but he didn't say allegedly. He said it was.
Well, the note allegedly
said. The note allegedly said that. And the other thing that it allegedly said is that he was always browbeating the Cuban son for not being as good as Justin. Are we sure Justin didn't write this note himself?
Yeah. The rumor is that Castro consistently would compare the two and highlight the shortcomings of little Fidel, as they called him, Fidelito, I believe. So,
and Fidelito's like, what do you want me to do? I'm in Cuba. We have no money. And he's in Canada.
And of course, America has made Canada awesome. So that's definitely, definitely an empowering thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was America.
Yeah.
America.
No, okay. No. You're totally right. If we hadn't intervened in both the world wars, England would be fine and nothing would have happened to you. No. I'll tell you what. There definitely wasn't a plan for us to take all your shit, and we found out what England's plan was. If we were to try to invade Canada, do you know what England's plan was if we were to invade Canada?
No.
Mostly just to leave you guys and fight us in the Navy, naval battle. So you, the only reason you didn't become, us, in both, with 2 periods and without, the only reason you didn't join.
I doubt I would have been here if.
Right. So
if it had become America, I probably would have been Australian.
Right. No, let's be honest. Hold on.
Still might get you.
Let's be honest. You would have been born in a German-speaking England if it wasn't for the United States saving everybody.
No.
Okay, that's all.
No. Come on now. Don't stop with the Americans saved everybody. That is a fucking.
So you guys totally had it, huh? You guys had that war?
Okay, but the reason why, when you landed there, they started kicking the shit out of you too. The reason why they didn't win is because of fucking Russia.
Okay.
That's the honest truth.
Okay.
Yeah,
my bad.
That one.
So you would be speaking Russian. My mistake.
Yes.
Okay.
And you would
That's better.
Okay, and you'd probably be speaking, I don't know, probably Russian or German or something.
I'm sure I would be because because the Iron Curtain would have extended without us there to stop it.
I don't know about that. Okay.
You're right.
Yeah, you're exceptional.
They totally beat the Nazis, and then they're like, you know what? We're going to go and do this communist experiment at home because that's what we're known for, not trying to take over the world with ideology. That's totally the fucking.
Yeah, I don't think they would have.
We're 47 minutes into this, and I know that you can't prove that Canada does anything without us. So let's just move on.
And you can't prove that America did anything other than fucking show up late with a bunch of equipment.
No. That is exactly what we did, and it was brilliant.
Sort of like late and got your asses handed to you at first.
No, I believe we liberated about a half of a corpse. I believe we went all through North Africa. I believe we took the Pacific, and I believe we took Western Europe as well. Like, yes, the Russians went from their country on the same landmass. They made it to Berlin. Should I blow a Slav? Should I blow a Slav
Dustin,
now? They walked to Germany. Congratulations.
You're talking nonsense. The reason why I say Russia is because Hitler had to split up his army. He went into Russia. He got bogged down when winter came. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
No. I am not saying that Russia was insignificant in the conflict, okay? But
it was Germany's mistake.
Yes,
it wasn't Russia.
Yes,
it wasn't U.S.
That.
It was Germany.
I get
Germany
that, but they were still at war. And I believe at the end of World War II, the quote was the only thing the Russians would need to take Western Europe is enough boots. Okay,
that's a quote.
So let's not act like
reality.
they wouldn't have done it. Oh, that is totally reality. That's the whole point of NATO, you cocksucker. But we're way off the point. America's the best.
No. The whole
land of the free.
I'm pretty sure Dan Carlin agrees with Dave.
I am the host. We are moving on to the next segment. I'm pulling the host card.
You're not done yet. You talk fucking bullshit. You talk fucking bullshit. Listen, by the time America got to back to the Pacific, the war machine from World War I was ramped back up.
Yep.
The soldiers were experienced by then, and they were able to kick ass. Okay. But you didn't. When you got to Europe, you guys had no experience anymore. You got your asses handed to you at first, just like everybody else did when they first started fighting the Germans. Okay. Hitler split up his armies and decided to fight on two fronts. Russia had way too many people and a fucking cold-ass winter, and that's the truth of it.
Something else Dan Carlin said.
Right,
I mean,
so
the Nazis were dumbasses, and that's part of it as well.
That's true. Okay, so let's move on with how to trigger a Canadian.
I'm not triggered. Who sounds triggered here? Me or Dustin? Dustin's like screaming, Americans!
I don't know. I'm watching Dustin laugh his ass off, so.
I'm watching him laugh too. Like, anyways, move on.
All right.
Who's hosting? You can move on with the show now.
Yes, well, I tell you to move on all the time, you cocksucker. All right, so we are 50 minutes into this episode, and we have a fair amount of audio I want to try to get through. We won't get through all of it. We're going to start to take a break. We are going to take a break, and then we are going to come back, and, emotional pleas will intensify.
And Canadians aren't imperialistic like you guys.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Great Britain and her subjects have never been imperialistic. You're absolutely right.
No, Great Britain.
And tell me about your natives and how they gave the country over to you willingly.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Canada
No,
has
you
never...
totally conquered one of the largest land masses and wiped out a people just like we did. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that was the British, not the Canadians.
Oh, okay. And the difference is one guy, you say, no, that's not us anymore. We're new people. We're super nice and we love mooses.
That's right.
Okay. And maple syrup and... Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
We've never colonized another country.
Right. Just all of the native countries that you colonized.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you did colonize outside of when you colonized. Oh, that was the British. Oh, okay. That very convenient for you. Okay. So back into the news that people care about here in the United States. We have. I'm just kidding with you. All right. Are you ready to start the next segment?
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Tell us about how you're too stupid for gun control. Go ahead.
Oh, we're too stupid.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Go ahead. In all seriousness, seriously. Go
okay.
ahead.
So I don't think I have to explain to anybody what's going on in the United States right now, but briefly, in case you're listening to this on some distant planet or far, far into the future, there was a school shooting in Florida. I'm not going to name the guy because I personally believe that part of the motivating factors of this type of tragedy is the fame that is awarded by the media, and that we are literally no one. I don't want to add to that. So, this loser, this fucking reject, in Florida, shot up a school, killed, what is it, 17 and injured 14. And,
yes.
And this has thrown America, I would say, back into the gun debate, but honestly, I haven't seen the gun debate at this particular fervor myself. Have you, Chris?
No, I mean, I tell you what, I've been amazed. I've seen a lot of, I do hang out with a lot of very much conservative types, and I'm amazed at the softening I've seen with their love affair with guns. I've seen a lot of them swing much further left than I am.
Really?
I had a dude recently just kind of go, you know what, I think I might stop building my ARs and sell my gun collection. And I really?
He said he was going to sell his gun collection?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but if he's a responsible person, the place for those guns to be is in his possession.
Right, exactly.
So that's the opposite.
I told him, I said, hold up, man. Yeah.
This has kind of had the opposite effect on me. Some of us can go back, or some of us, the people listening can go back and listen to, we talked about the Las Vegas, shooting. We did talk about his name and a lot of the motivation stuff like that in that one, before I personally came to this conclusion. And I didn't say a whole lot on that episode because I didn't have a lot of feelings, or ideas in the gun debate. I'm not a big gun guy myself. I have a gun that was given to me, and I have had to use it before in defense of my life and property. I've never fired the gun, but there were some intruders, and I happened to have my gun at that time. I might have told the story on the show before, so I'm not going to go into it. So,
is it a gun?
It is. I don't want to give a great detail away about what I have, but it's a shotgun. It's a shotgun that I was given by a family member that they had for quite a while. So it's definitely not one of these like ARs or semi-automatics or anything like that. And I didn't have strong feelings about those type of guns some months ago, but I do now, and not towards the left. I'm actually leaning quite right on this particular issue. The more I look into the principles behind it and what has happened in other countries as guns have been illegalized. But tonight, what I'm more interested in the gun debate is the town hall that happened in Florida. So,
I just want to say one thing real quick. I would say that the gun debate never stops in the U.S., but it's heightened right now.
Right, it's
yes,
like a nice hallucinogen. It comes in waves.
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying is this one might just be a fucking tidal wave, dude. Like this might be peak tripping through universes to keep my analogy going there. And the clips that I'm going to bring tonight, and there's going to be a link to the description of this, and I recommend people to watch it, but it is extremely, extremely emotionally charged. So, I'm not a trigger warning person, but just going in, know that the main tactic on the gun control side of this discussion is, look dead kids in the face and tell them that. Like that's pretty much the line they're taking. I've
heard a lot of skeptics say anytime somebody is saying, but when the argument is, but the children, it should automatically go, you should stop and go, hold up. That's a red flag from the start.
Right, and I want to say that if you're starting any kind of mental experiment with what if it was my kids, I think you're making a tragic mistake right up front. I don't have kids myself, but I can imagine that if it came down between my kids and 30 kids, fuck those 30 kids. Fuck those 30 kids. I'm worried about my kid. And that's the way that's the way we're wired as a species. We look after, we look after our own in growing circles of importance. And the most important is direct family, your kids. So to say, what if this was my kid? That's not the place to start, because then you're in the wrong mindset. You're not reasonable in any fashion. That is when we're least reasonable. So I guess I'm going to start getting into some of these clips. The first one that I'm going to play tonight is one of the victim's fathers. And by the way, what this is the father's...
One of you is banging your microphone.
I was just moving the microphone. That was me. My bad.
Oh, okay.
So the first clip I'm going to play is between Marco Rubio, the Republican senator. Okay, so we have three senators. We have Rubio, Nelson, and Deutsch. The two Democrats and a Republican, to my understanding. I'm not super sure about Deutsch. I'm not into
El Duce.
El Duce. I think it's spelled more like Dutch with an E at the end. But I'm not.
Oh, so douche. El Duce.
Okay, so this is Rubio and the victim's father.
Hang on, Cruz isn't there?
No, Cruz isn't there because he's from Texas.
Oh,
Cruz is done going back home to his alien home.
To Canada?
Fred's 14-year-old daughter, Jamie, was lost last week, and he has a question for Senator Rubio.
Senator Rubio, I just listened to your opening, and thank you. I want to like you. Here's the problem, and I'm a brutally honest person, so I'm just going to say it up front.
Yes, sir.
When I like you, you know it, and when I'm pissed at you, you know it. Your comments this week and those of our president have been pathetically weak. So, you and I are now eye to eye, because I want to like you. Look at me and tell me guns were the factor in the hunting of our kids in this school this week. And look at me and tell me you accept it and you will work with us to do something about guns.
You know what? I'm gonna pause it right here. 59 seconds in. So no one is saying they don't want to do anything. Well, no one on the stage is. None of the Florida representatives are saying we want to take no action. So, for him saying that, don't you want to do something to, yes. We didn't play it here, but if you watch Rubio's opening statement are the things that he wants to do, and he's about to repeat them. So the guy's already heard that, but let's.
Fred, I'm not, first of all, let me explain what I said this week, and I'll repeat it. I'll repeat what I said. And then I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to talk about guns, and we're going to talk about what I said this week. And here's what I said. I said that the problems that we are facing...
Let him speak. I think we need to hear it.
I'm saying that the problems that we're facing here today cannot be solved by gun laws alone. And I'm going to tell you what we've done already and what I hope we'll do moving forward.
Were guns the factor in the hunting of our
kids?
They were.
And here's
it's the weapon of choice. Can you say that?
Number one, Fred, I absolutely believe that in this country, if you are 18 years of age, you should not be able to buy a rifle, and I will support a law that takes that right away.
Fantastic.
I will support the banning of bump stocks, and I know that the president has ordered the attorney general to do it, and if he doesn't, we should do it by law.
I'm a gun control supporter to a certain extent, but that one, it means nothing to me. Like, fuck. If you can fucking fight and die for your country, you should be able to drink beer and buy a gun. That's it. And I don't care that they said if you're enlisted, you're able to, at 18 years old, you can be drafted to go and fight. So if you want to own a weapon. And it's like, I don't know, like, people here in the North, you grow up hunting. You're hunting as a child. You're hunting as a teenager. Your dad, your grandpa hands down a weapon to you. Like, it's just, I don't see that fixing anything. Really, I don't. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, and on that note, Florida actually passed something today where you can't buy a rifle until you're 21 unless you join the military, armed forces, get married, or there may be another clause to that. We have the audio here, but I'm not sure we're going to have time to play it. I'm sure everyone will get this news. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a real quick question before we move on. What would you rather have? Would you rather have a teenager, an 18-year-old that hasn't seen Battleground, or an 18-year-old with PTSD buying a weapon? Like, let's be honest.
Okay. How about this? I hear what you're saying there, and you're making a very good point, Dave. That just because someone's been in the military doesn't mean they're stable. And of course, Rubio is also for expanded, background checks and psychological checks, and he's going to get into that in this clip.
Good. Yeah.
But okay, I can see pushing it back to 19, just so that like if you're in school, you shouldn't be to get a rifle. How about that? If you're in high school. I could see that.
Can somebody gift one to you?
Sure. I'll put that on that person.
Okay.
I'll put the responsibility on that person to make sure they're not giving an unstable person a rifle. So someone in their personal life has to feel like they're stable enough. I can see that.
Yes. Okay. Can we differentiate between long barrel, semi-automatic, and handgun? Can an 18-year-old buy a long barrel for hunting?
I don't know if this law is any.
But I'm asking if it was
me,
would
we're going down a thing here. Like maybe it,
I know I don't want to go too far.
Maybe a nice bolt action I could see being fine.
Okay,
yeah, a gun that you would actually use for hunting. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, for hunting. This is what I'm saying. Most people know this. I grew up in the northern part of Canada. For people that don't know the northern part of Canada, hunting is a major cultural significance there. Everybody hunts. Okay, everybody has a gun when they're young, and your gun is two things. It's mainly a tool, but the tool is for two things. It's for getting your meat and for protecting you against animals that want to kill you with their face.
Right. And there are with their face. There are a lot of places in the United States that way as well. Like even parts of Florida, I would say, are that way.
Yes.
So no, I'll give that caveat. The school shooting thing is particularly egregious because it's kids. So
yes.
Does a teenager need a semi-automatic rifle?
No.
I don't think that a teenager necessarily needs a semi-automatic rifle. So I would agree with that. I could see giving them like single shotguns,
yes, long barrel hunting weapons.
Something that you're gonna have to break down, put in a new bullet, something that you're gonna have to do a bolt action to slow down the rate of fire significantly. I can see letting of course I don't want to stop kids from being able to go hunting with their fathers or even by themselves. And by kids I mean teenagers. Don't fucking okay. But we got a lot of audio to cover, so let's get back to this clip because he's going to get more into what he would do. And keep in mind, Rubio's the bad guy in this town hall. Let's keep that in mind.
Okay.
He's the Darth Vader.
I will support changing our background system so that it includes more information than it includes now, and that all states across the country are required or incentivized to report all the information into it. And let me tell you what I've done already. Last year, when we came up with our budget in the Senate, I pushed for and got approved $50 million a year through the Sandy Hook Initiative to provide a threat assessment fund for all states to be able to stand up in each of the school districts a way to identify people who could potentially do this and get ahead of it before it happens. I support moving forward on that initiative and making it widely available for everyone around the country. Now, I think what you're asking about is the assault weapons ban.
Yes, sir.
So let me be honest with you about that one. If I believed that law would have prevented this from happening, I would support it. But I want to explain to you why you would not.
Senator Rubio, my daughter, running down the hallway at Marjorie Stoneman
sir.
Douglas, was shot in the back with an assault weapon. The weapon of choice.
Yes, sir.
Okay? It is too easy to get. It is a weapon of war. The fact that you can't stand with everybody in this building and say that, I'm sorry.
Sir, I do believe what you're saying is true.
No, it's not an assault weapon. It's not a weapon of war. No, he's wrong. And Rubio should be correcting him.
I don't even like the term weapons of war. Like the Nazi, not the Nazi, but the World War I shock troops that would go over had fucking hatchets and like 45s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like they're weapons of war. Yes, weapons are for war.
Has Marco Rubio proposed this bill, or is he just speaking out of his ass?
Opposed what bill?
Has he proposed?
Has he
that bill?
No.
No.
He's that bill is being proposed, and Rubio is against it. To ban some 200 odd semi.
No, him talking about the using background checks instead. Actually, because really, I think he's right in saying that. You'd be better spending your efforts trying to keep the guns out of the hands of the assholes. But is anybody actually doing that, or is it a whole? Or is the argument still no? Leave the guns alone. No, just like get rid of some of them or all of them.
I don't think anyone is making the argument now. Okay, so people that aren't for expanding the background checks that we have now and the type of restrictions would say that first we need to try restricting the things that are already on the books, which is actually very much true. A lot of states and counties don't turn in the vast majority of their crime data into the background system that would reject somebody for guns. So this guy, if he would have been properly reported, likely would not have been able to legally buy his gun. That's part of the irony. The police had been out there like 19 times. A total times the government had been out there 39 times, I do believe, for various domestic disturbances at the guy's house. He went onto YouTube and left a comment saying that he was going to be a professional school shooter under his name. His real name, and that was turned into the FBI by the YouTuber, and nothing come of it. They didn't even forward it to their fucking boss. Okay? The law enforcement seriously dropped the ball on this one. We had the laws in place, but they didn't carry through. The infrastructure hasn't been put in place in a lot of situations, and I would say for some ideological reasons, a lot of the information isn't forwarded that should be. So that would be the argument that's being put forward by Republicans at the moment. Go ahead.
I'd like to add to this, to them wanting to ban the AR-15s and the other weapons. Like, I don't know, we have AR-15s. So, we've had 0 shootings with them. There's tens of thousands in the city that I live in alone. So I don't see it as being the weapon. It's the people that have access to the weapon, and it's the lack of mental health. And I know people so the right likes to scream mental health right away, and then the left likes to make fun of the fact that people are saying mental health. But if you limit the access of guns to people with mental health issues, and at the same time, if you have universal health care that helps people with mental health and make sure that they're getting their medications, they're like much less likely to be set off. We have some other provisions that you guys don't have, like the clip size. You're only allowed a certain clip size. It's a restricted weapon, which means you have to be like a really decent citizen in order to get one. And it takes an extra license, which is an extra safety course. Because we have, to own any weapon in Canada, you have to take a weapons safety course, even just a hunting weapon, which I think that would help a lot too, because, just being able to buy one isn't really the smartest way.
Truthfully, that's true in a lot of states too. That's true here in South Carolina. You can't, not for hunting weapons, but to buy a pistol, a CWP pretty much works as a permit on a pistol, and you can't get a CWP without taking so many hours of safety classes and going through criminal background checks, and then the local sheriff is the one who actually approves it. But then I don't know how many states like that. South Carolina is not like that. I started taking safety classes, but I still could have just went and bought a gun. They made me go through a federal background check that took 3 days to come back. But up here, if you don't have a CWP, you can get it done, but it's hard.
And what is a CWP? Concealed weapons permit.
Concealed weapons permit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, the stupid damn thing though, if you don't have a concealed weapons permit, you can open carry, which I'm like.
Well, see, this is the difference that I'm talking about. Even I'm not talking about having a concealed carry permit. It's like any weapon at all here, and it's federal. It's not just provincial. You have to take a safety training course. It's a day course that you have to take, and when you buy a weapon, it takes a few weeks before you actually get it, because first they do the background checks. Then you go through your safety training before you even get one. And anytime you buy ammunition, you have to show your driver's license and your hunting license, or it used to be called the FACs. I can't remember exactly what it's called now, but you have to show that license, and then it gets put into the computer that you've bought this ammo, and they know how much ammo you've bought. And so if you start stockpiling ammo, which you're not allowed to do, they will know because you've been purchasing ammo.
Right. We have a fair amount of audio here. So I'm all for as much education in gun use as possible. I believe that is in concordance with the Second Amendment and its intended purpose of having a well-regulated militia available for the country. So I have no problem with that whatsoever. The third one I have titled, it was the third clip. I pulled 12 clips. We're only playing a few of them tonight. But a damn good question. And I believe this is put George, Dutch, if not, anyway, let's get into it.
Bring in Gabriel Edenbaum. He's a first-year student. He saw the shooter across a courtyard at school and hid in a closet until a SWAT team arrived. And Gabriel has a question for Congressman Deutsch. Gabriel.
Dana, why can a 19-year-old with mental health issues and other problems walk into a gun store and buy an AR-15 and ammunition? How was he able to get a gun when he was mentally ill and his mom called the cops on him 39 times?
Right. First of all, I can't imagine how terrifying that must have been for you. And you're right to ask the question. The fact is, in this case, this shooter, 39 times law enforcement came to visit. There were disturbing, frightening social media postings. The fact is that what we need to do, and there are efforts at the state and there is federal legislation that would do it, is provide law enforcement the opportunity to get a gun violence temporary restraining order so that if it's clear that someone might do damage, then that person's gun should be taken away from them. And I know...
I support that, by the way.
I know this is not a debate, but I don't know if we're going to get back to it. And I just want to respond to something Senator Rubio said because he told us a lot about his views on the assault weapons ban. And I would just simply say this. If there is a problem with the assault weapons ban, which, by the way, when it expired, let's be clear, mass shootings went up 200% in the decade after the assault weapons ban expired. But if there is a problem with the way that was written, if there were too many loopholes for people trying to get around it to utilize, then let's bring up the assault weapons ban and close all those loopholes so that we have a bill that keeps people safe.
Right. I like the first part of that. I definitely like the idea of having something that is like a restraining order that can be put against somebody by someone within their life. And if enough evidence is put forward, you can restrict temporarily their right to have a gun until further assessment. And I can see putting a time limit on that, right? So for the next 6 months, we're going to restrict your ability to have your gun. We would like you to turn it in. We're going to, we need you to talk to this, trained government official, someone trained in psychology, this type of thing, to see whether or not you're actually the threat that your family or friends have reported you to be. I don't have a problem with that either. I really don't, because I think that the right to have to have guns, like all rights, is partial responsibility. And if you're not being a responsible citizen, if you are having violent tendencies or actions, I believe that it should be subject to review. Let's say, at least temporarily. At least temporarily. I want to move into the next clip, which I think is the most telling of the clips that I have here. And it's called Rubio Gets to the Root of the Matter.
Close all those loopholes so that we have a bill that keeps people safe.
And Gabriel is an excellent question, and I want to answer that one if I may. I know it's not a debate, but this is an important point. It really is, because it is an issue that I want people to understand more about. First of all, I appreciate your words. Being here tonight is not courage. Courage is what you did and what you guys are doing and what those teachers and administrators did. That's courage. And Fred, you talked to your story a moment ago. I would tell you that what you've done in this effort, irrespective of we may have a different view on something, that's courage. That's real courage. Now, on the issue that you've raised about the background checks, relate directly to what you said about the assault weapons ban. It's not the loopholes. It's the problem that once you start looking at how easy it is to get around it, you would literally have to ban every semi-automatic rifle that's sold in America.
But you see what's going on here, right? It is not about some quote-unquote common sense, as they would like to call it, small tweaks here and there, a magazine capacity, maybe a few type of guns that look particularly atrocious. No. All of those people there, it seems to be pretty uniformly, and real quick, a kid that was pro-gun that was there and used his fucking body to shield people being shot at, tried to come in and give his questions, and CNN wanted to, they didn't like it. They gave him a script. He didn't want to read the script, so he pulled out. And that's come forward. And of course, CNN says that they would never script a town hall meeting, except in WikiLeaks, they script the town hall meetings and questions. So you really can't take their word for it. You can't necessarily take the kid's word for it. But when you looked at how loaded these questions are, like person after person gets up and says, Senator Rubio, how does your wife feel about you beating her? Senator Rubio, what did your mom say when you told her you were gay? Like this is the way every question is being delivered. But let's get back into this clip. Now that it's very clear what it is they're pushing for. They do not want an adult to be able to have a semi-automatic rifle, period. And I don't understand why they would logically stop there. Because the vast majority of gun violence, and the problem is gun violence, right guys? The vast majority of gun violence are handguns. The vast majority of violence are handguns. Dave, we don't get these optics where 30 kids are shot in a school. What we have is about 15 people a day being dropped by handguns every day spread across the country. Okay.
Yeah. No,
so
sure.
if the problem is fucking dead kids and bodies littering the streets, we have those coming from fucking 38s and 45s and Glocks. Why aren't they on the chopping block? And the thing is, if you continue down this path logically, they are. I want to get back into this clip. Does anyone want to push back on me with that?
I don't care.
You don't care, okay.
No, it's not that I don't care. I don't, no, because, every time he says we'd have to ban all assault weapons, which I have a real problem with them even calling them assault weapons. but it's like they cheer. So obviously they do want them gone.
They want sweeping bans on guns is what they want. And the thing, okay, so then you ban them. What next? They're not making a reasonable request here. They're really not. We have far too many guns to do some sort of sweeping take guns away legislation. And we have far too many people that would rather die. If your plan is to minimize death by guns, I'm not sure that's the path to go down. That's my point.
Fair enough. That is a valid position to hold. But my colleagues do not support banning every semi-automatic rifle sold in America.
I believe that the idea that a gunman like this could march down the halls of Stoneman Douglas High School and fire off 150 rounds in 6 or 7 minutes, that gun should be banned. There is no reason that anybody should own one of them.
And that is a very valid point. But my point is that under the law that you support, there would still be 2,000 guns that were legal that could do the exact same thing.
Well, then let's sit down and figure out what they are so that we can ensure people...
I know, but look, this is an important discussion because now you're seeing what the debate is about the assault weapons ban. And I just ask, are you in favor of banning any gun that can do what the AR-15 can do? Yes or no?
I am in favor. Senator Rubio, if you have a concern about something, let me just answer this question because it's important.
It is. That's the whole debate.
Yeah, and the answer to the question is, do I support banning weapons that fire off 150 rounds in 7 to 8 minutes, weapons that are weapons of war that serve no purpose other than killing the maximum number of people they can? You bet I am.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole point of a gun. I just paused it. That's the whole point of any weapon is to be an effective killing. And here's the thing: your choice between whether you want a handgun or a rifle is based on a situation. That's the point I was making earlier too. The logic to take away semi-automatics, a fucking 9mm is semi-automatic. So the difference is now, so this length of barrel is okay. This length of barrel is not okay.
My 7-round M&P Shield is semi-automatic. I mean, what modern anything is not, as short of a shotgun, isn't semi-automatic.
Or bolt action, which we were talking about earlier. Exactly. So they're actually talking about sweeping bans.
Banning everything.
Sweeping ban.
Yeah.
Dave, if you think I'm being unreasonable, please push back on me.
I don't understand the logic of ban everything. I know that I can tell that they say they're asking for gun control, but it may not be an outright ban like you're saying, but it's a lot further than what common sense. And I know that the NRA and Republicans hate hearing the word common sense gun control, but I mean, like, they go a lot further than, and I know a lot of the left in the States likes to bring up Canada as gun control, and a conservative newspaper here put out the other day, would Canada's gun control laws have any effect on this certain mass shootings? And one of them was the Las Vegas. Like, would it still happen? One of them was Columbine and a couple others. And only 2 out of the group was a definitive no. And that's because the guns were bought at, because all the guns were legal. It wasn't like they used illegal guns. Only two were a definitive no because the guns were bought at a show, which you wouldn't be able to buy here. So they wouldn't have been able to happen in the way that it happened. If they went and obtained weapons illegally, it's going to happen no matter what. But even the Las Vegas shooting still would have happened.
Right.
With Canadian. He may not have been able to kill as many because he would have been reloading a lot more, and it would have gave more opportunity for law enforcement to stop him. Because instead of having a massive clip, he only has 10 rounds in the clip, which is the type of gun control I'm into, right? because with gun control, you're not going to stop all mass shootings. You're not going to stop all shootings. It's slowing them down, or maybe setting up a little barrier for people that have a mental disorder or a violent history. You put a little blocker there, and if they aren't able to obtain a weapon illegally, then the shooting's not going to happen, right? But I like anybody that thinks that gun control of any kind stops all shootings. I've got news for you. Even countries that say they don't have weapons, if you live in a city with more than 1 million people, you have gun violence. I'm talking to you, Australia.
That's right. There has been growing gun violence in Australia, from my understanding, and I haven't looked terribly deeply into it, but Mexico, Jamaica, Ireland, England, and a handful of other countries, after they banned handguns, violent crime and murder rates, rape, things like that, go up. So while you might not have these optics, where you have a bloody school, and you have, kids and parents, being cathartic to their senators, you are going to have a lot of death and violence. More so, it seems. More so.
Let me ask you guys a question, okay? Now, this may seem off base and kind of crazy, but like the people that do mass shootings and school shootings and these types of attacks, they're looking for notoriety. Do you think your celebrity culture, because you guys have a celebrity culture that nobody else has, do you think that your celebrity culture kind of, I'm not going to say it's a root cause, but it does, because everybody wants to be fucking famous in the U.S., right? So do you think that may have a little bit to do with it? Because that's what a lot of them are doing it for, is they will know me. They will know my fucking name.
And my face and my hobbies and what my friends were up to and all of it. Yeah. It seems it's almost like a high score thing going on too. I definitely agree that a lot of it is cultural. If it was more based on the amount of guns that were out there, the United States would have the highest gun death rate, like murder rate per capita, but we do not have the highest gun murder or shooting, not even close in the world. But we do have by far the most guns. By fucking gobs and gobs. We have 3 guns per people. Some people estimate 3 or 4 guns per 350 million people in our country. So,
yes.
It's a very complicated thing. And, I've started doing a fair amount of research on this, and we'll probably do a follow-up episode on the way gun control has rolled out over the world and how it applies to the United States. We have another minute left in this clip, so I'm going to hit play here. Cheering, taking all semi-automatics.
That is a very fair position to hold. So and I just want you to understand that goes well beyond the bill that's before us now.
Well, then sit with me and let's come up with something that you support.
I'd like to let Senator Nelson into this conversation as well.
I only raised that not to get into a debate, and I want Senator Nelson to speak, of course. I just want to say that the reason why I raised that point is so you understand that is what the debate is about. It is about the fact that there are over 2,000, virtually every rifle sold in America today can do what that gun does.
That's not true.
It is true. It's absolutely.
Senator Nelson.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let me tell you about the bill that I have.
Who was the deep voice guy? Let me tell you about the bill that I have.
That was one of the 2 Democratic, not Dooch, but I forget the other one's name. I'm terrible with name, guys. Whoopsie daisies.
El Dooch. And is his bill take the guns?
His bill restricts 200 models of semi-automatic guns. And Rubio's problem with that is there's another couple thousand that have very similar specs, and they would be carried into the school and used, if not an AR.
Yeah, how would you feel about them being restricted? Not banned, but restricted.
Restricted. Okay. I've said before that I can see having different classes of licenses for different types of guns. Let's say, as the damage done that can be dealt increases, I think the person should be looked at more closely. So, training with the sheriff department, I would like to see, and of course, they should have the right to be able to say no, not this person, with good cause. Let's say with good cause. I don't have a problem with that. In theory, I don't have a problem with that. And if someone has a good argument against it, I'm all ears. So I have a clip here. I'm going to skip that one. We're running a little late. So they actually get the sheriff from the county that I would say dropped the ball, and the official spokesperson for the NRA showed up to take a few questions as well. You know what?
That guy's nuts.
That guy, it's a woman. Because
well, I hope she brought her. I'm
sure she's packing tons of heat, my dude.
Yeah, she's probably got like five strapped to her.
NRA. Dana Lesh is the national spokesperson for the NRA. She is here with us, along with Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel. We're going to be asking them questions in this segment. Sheriff Israel, I do want to start with you about a question that was asked earlier. You ordered today that a deputy or deputies in Broward County will be present at Douglas School, but also at schools throughout Broward County, carrying rifles, armed. This afternoon, President Trump suggested that teachers, we should think about arming them as well. We discussed that a little bit here earlier. I'm wondering what you, as a law enforcement officer, what you think.
I don't believe teachers should be armed. I believe teachers should teach. But that's exactly what's wrong with this country. We have people in Washington, D.C., representatives, senators, and legislators telling teachers what they should do without asking teachers, what do you want to do?
Okay. I want to bring in right now Senior Emma Gonzalez. She has a question. She has a question for Dana.
First of all, I want to thank Mr. Foster for teaching us everything we learned. I could not have written that speech without you.
It was Winston Churchill that said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste."
I thought that's who it was, but I didn't want to say it out of turn.
Yeah,
man, I thought it was some fucking commie. What a turn of events!
No, it's Winston Churchill. I think it was in 1934. He said it.
Okay, good deal. Check it out. Chris, the official Googler of Everyone's Wrong. That's a needed job too.
Young Chris.
Young Chris. That's great. So we're gonna get back into this. We got another 4 or 5 minutes on this one. Here comes the actual question.
That was like directly from notes, and I want to thank you for that. Second of all, I had a thing I was going to say.
You know what? Let me pause it again. Her teacher gave her notes. So these kids, from the mouths of babes, I do believe is the old saying. These kids are being told what to say. I'm sure that they are deciding what they do and they don't want to say, but they're being fed lines. They're like, so this isn't even the thing that they're supposed to be doing here is disingenuously being done.
But this is put on by CNN, right? So I'm not going to call them fake news, but it was showing today that they feed the kids the questions. So
yeah, that was what the whole allegedly. Let's get back into it now. We're at 124 in the clip.
Happens to the best of us. All right. Dana Loesch, I want you to know that we will support your two children in the way that we will not. You will not.
You like that tone, Dave?
The shooter at our school obtained weapons that he used on us legally. Do you believe that it should be harder to obtain the semi-automatic and weapons and the modifications for these weapons to make them fully automatic, like bump stocks?
Well, first off, Emma, I want to applaud you for standing up and speaking out. And for anyone who has ever criticized you or any of these students up here, including people who have been on my side of this issue, I don't think that anyone should deny you your voice or deny you your position because you are young.
We want to thank you for
I was a very politically active teenager, and I'm on this stage as a result of that. Think of how far you all could go as a result of voicing your beliefs. Now, I want to answer your question, and I want to be allowed the opportunity, which is why I am here, to talk.
I'm going to pause it again. Did you hear someone yell, if you allow them to?
No.
She said, imagine what you can grow up and do. And someone screamed, if you allow them to. Yeah. The NRA shot no one. Like, the argument isn't, do you care about kids or do you want dead kids? Like, that's what bothered me so much about this. Like, everything is framed in this disingenuous nature. And honestly, this is what people are talking about when they say you don't talk about it right after the tragedy. Okay? We made terrible decisions right after 9/11. That's what you do. You're in a state of trauma. I'm going to get back into the clip. Sorry about that.
And have this discussion with you all and answer these questions. This is why I came down here. I don't believe that this insane monster should have ever been able to obtain a firearm. Ever. I do not think that he should have gotten his hands on any kind of weapon. That's number one. This individual was nuts. And I, nor the millions of people that I represent as a part of this organization that I'm here speaking for, none of us support people who are crazy, who are a danger to themselves, who are a danger to others, getting their hands on a firearm. And we have been for over 20 years, and I have been screaming about this, which is why I'm here, because I have kids, and I'm not just fighting for my kids, I'm fighting for you, I'm fighting for you, I'm fighting for all of you, because I don't want anyone to ever be in this position again. I want everyone to think about this for 1 second. This goes right into your question. Do you know that it is not federally required for states to actually report people who are prohibited possessors, crazy people, people who are murderers? No? We've been actually talking about that for a long time. Let me answer the question. You can shout me down when I'm finished, but let me answer Emma's question. It is not federal law for states to report convictions to the NICS system. It's not federally mandated. That's the big question, and I wish that this network had also covered this more as other media networks would have covered it. That's a huge... Wait a second.
You guys, if I can't hear her statement, I can't come up with a rebuttal. Please.
Wait a second. Do you guys want to stop mentally insane individuals from getting firearms? Yes? They have to be in the system. If they are convicted, you can convict them, you can adjudicate them mentally unfit. If a state does not report it to the National Crime Information Center, when you run that form, this madman passed a background check. How was he able to pass a background check? He was able to pass a background check because we have a system that's flawed. The Sutherland Springs murderer was able to pass a background check because the Air Force did not report that record.
I think I'm going to interrupt you real quick and remind you that the question is actually, do you believe it should be harder to obtain these semi-automatic weapons and modifications to make them fully automatic, such as bump stocks?
Well, I think the ATF is deciding about bump stocks right now. The president ordered the DOJ to look into it.
I'm asking your opinion as a representative of the NRA.
That's what the NRA's position has been. The NRA I'm talking for them. These are the 5 million members that I'm here representing. That is what that group's position has been on that. So that answers your question. And they spoke about that before the president made a move, and they spoke about that before Attorney General Jeff Sessions made an announcement about that too. So that answers your question with that.
Just interject for a second, though. And I understand you're standing up for the NRA, and I understand that's what you're supposed to do. But you just told this group of people that you are standing up for them. You're not standing up for them until you say, I want less weapons. These people want three things. And I come here tonight with 39 years in law enforcement. I've Baker-acted people. I've taken weapons from people. The men and women I've worked with for almost 40 years. We know how to keep America safe. Number one, you're right, we have to take weapons out of the hands of people that suffer from mental illness. We have to expand the Baker Act. We have to be able, when police encounter someone, Emma, when police encounter someone who is going through a mental illness, we don't only have to wait, or we shouldn't have to wait until they are a danger to themselves or someone else. We should be able to take them to an institution that's going to examine them and take weapons away from them right then and there at that time.
And Sheriff, you're a member of the NRA, yes? No, you're not a member of the NRA. I want to bring in Diane Wolk-Rogers, who teaches.
Hey, check it out. So, the NRA's, supposed, their claim goal is to protect the right of self-defense, life and liberty, and to assure all of rights through the ability to resist. So, like, the NRA's stated goals are very similar to the stated goals of the people there. They're saying that you just don't quite understand how it is you have to go about being safe. That's their argument. Their argument isn't that fucking, kids shouldn't be safe. Like, in their opinion, standing up for guns rights are standing up for the kids. They're not two separate things. So, like, it's not like she did some kind of fucking mental acrobatics there. It's a different of opinion and approach, and that's what people need to understand most of this is. Everyone is trying to keep the kids safe while securing the rest of the fucking society. And we have different opinions on how to go about that.
I'm going to push back on that. Some of the NRA just want the guns, right? They don't give a fuck.
Sure. Okay, I'm definitely making vast generalizations. I'm saying that the reasonable argument on both sides, the reasonable argument on the left would be that no reasonable person really needs these guns for self-defense.
Well, a lot of the left says nobody needs any guns.
Yes. We kind of saw that in this debate tonight, didn't we? Or this talk, where they absolutely cheered for massive, taking back of guns. I have one more clip here that I want to pull back, and this actually goes back to when the senators were talking. They went, the last clip was from the last part of it, and, okay. This is clip number 7. I call it "Staring Down the Barrel of a 45." You remember that old song from the fucking early 2000s? All right, so this kid, I'm gonna give a little bit of a visual. They have it set up. Thank you, Chris. They have the kids set up on one side of a stage and the senators on another, and the kids have been standing up from their seats and asking these questions. This kid walks across, shakes the hand of the two Democratic senators, doesn't shake Rubio's hand, and walks back over to his side of the stage. Okay, so Rubio stands up, puts his hands in his pocket, and walks towards the middle of the stage to talk to the kid. I just wanted to, that is what's happening here while everyone's cheering at the beginning of this.
Okay.
And Cameron Kasky, he's a junior, and he has a question for Senator Rubio. Cameron.
Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm not gonna listen to that. Senator Rubio, it's hard to look at you and not look down the barrel of an AR-15 and not look at Nicholas Cruz. But the point is, you're here, and there are some people who are not. And I need to ask two things of you. Number one, Chris Grady, can you stand up? This is my friend who's going to the military. I need you to tell him that he's going to live to make it to serve our country. And then we'll get to the other one.
Before Rubio answers, I just paused it. Before Rubio answers, I believe the old saying is, "There's no promise of a tomorrow." Mm-hmm. There's no promise of a tomorrow. If you think that politicians can, or it is their job to promise you a tomorrow, I think you vastly misunderstand what government is for.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking meteor might hit you. Fucking Russia might nuke us before this town hall meeting is over. How the fuck do you guarantee a tomorrow to somebody? That is not the way it works.
Not only are you going to live to serve our country, you and all of you have a chance to change our country. Change not just our laws, but the way we talk about our laws. So absolutely.
Thank you. And guys,
and fuck Rubio for that.
This isn't about red and blue. We can't boo people because they're Democrats and boo people because they're Republicans. Anyone who's willing to show change, no matter where they're from, anybody who's willing to start to make a difference is somebody we need on our side here. And this is about people who are for making a difference to save us and people who are against it and prefer money. So, Senator Rubio, can you tell me right now that you will not accept a single donation from the NRA in the future?
To truth, that's about when I checked out watching this.
I'm gonna pause it right there. I'm gonna tell everyone what happened, and we're gonna save the time. Rubio pretty much says, of course not. they give me money because they agree with what I already believe. I don't change my beliefs to match what they're saying. What Rubio doesn't say here, so you see these numbers passed around that so many millions of dollars have been donated to politicians or to politics from the NRA. Most of that money goes to advertisement for the NRA itself, like political advertisements. Very, very little of it goes into actual politicians. And when you break it down to all the politicians that get it, they're not paying these guys enough money to sway any fucking opinions. I assure you. I bet they get more money for fucking Kellogg's than they get from the NRA. It's ridiculous. There's several times they call it blood money in this fucking forum, and that's not fair. That's not right. It's fucking ludicrous. The way this is being framed is so dishonest, and it's having the opposite effect on me personally. If it's supposed to make me feel like I should give up my gun, it makes me want to go buy a gun. Is what it does.
That's crazy.
They want him, Dave. They want him, and I was, there's an unaired episode from The Wayward Atheist, the show that we did before this one, where me and you got into it pretty hot over guns, and it's because I assumed you were making the argument that these guys are making.
But that's not my argument.
Yeah, well, I know that's not true. Well, you started talking about fucking gun control, and you see how the arguments they couch their argument in the same language that you couch yours in the beginning. Yes. So when you hear that, what it does is it makes somebody like me who didn't care so much, but is growingly concerned about this move to underline the very basic idea of human rights, in my opinion.
Should maybe call it gun laws. I support responsible gun ownership and responsible gun laws.
Well, that's what I would say too, and I have a feeling that's what Rubio would say. So what you just did is swap sides. Now they're going to hear that and think that you're for fucking, what?
But neither of you are for what I'm for. Rubio's not really for what I'm for, and they're not really for what I'm for.
That's my point. Like, what language is someone like you or me in the middle supposed to use? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
And Chris, you've given very little opinion on this. I know that you're a gun guy, so I want to give you a minute to wax poetically, if you so wish.
I tell you what, Marco Rubio by all means stepped out of the norm by even suggesting that there should be any changes with the gun laws at all. I don't think any of his constituents even believe that.
You said yourself that you saw a softening of people that were very much Second Amendment people. So, do you think that either that's happening within him, or are you feeling that in the winds?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
Right.
I've kind of, like I said, I've hardened a little bit. But there by all means is a middle ground, and where it is, I don't know, but it's got to be found, though. It has to be. I don't see it in the right or the left. I really don't. All I really see is, and maybe that's changing here, and it's, I've only seen this softening here in the last couple of days. I want to see how long it lasts, see how far it goes. Something tells me that it's not going to last long. That
right.
Here in a minute, everybody's going to settle right back where they were before, and I don't think anything's going to change, truthfully.
Okay. I'm going to play one last clip for you guys. It's clip number 10, and I'm just going to play the opening of it for time's sake. I just, once again, the way these questions are being presented.
It doesn't require everyone to get one. That's not complicated. Yes, ma'am.
Will my school campus be safe when I return? Because I plan to not return until I know that something is going to change. And I'm not the only one.
I can tell you that the commitment from Superintendent Runcie and from Sheriff Israel and from law enforcement and from your teachers and from everyone who is focused on school security is going to do everything they can to make sure that it is safe when you go back. But the real issue is that you have to ask that question. Sorry? Well then if there were issues that happened yesterday, then those issues need to get fixed before Marjory Stoneman Douglas gets reopened. That's absolutely right. Look, I can tell you that we need to have the community come together. Everyone who's involved in security needs to be involved to make sure that your school is safe. And everyone who cares about the safety of the schools, who represents you either in Tallahassee or in Washington, also has to do everything they can to make sure that you're safe. And when Congress goes back next week.
Okay. I'm gonna cut it off there at the 1:17 mark. It's the parents' job to explain to these children that sometimes terribly unfortunate things happen, but you cannot let them traumatize you to the point that you can no longer function in life. You have to learn how to cope with what's happened. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. But I'm going to go back to, if you think the government can guarantee you tomorrow or guarantee you safety, I'm going to go to one of the founding quotes, ideals of this country, and that is those that would trade liberty for safety will inevitably have neither. And that's a paraphrase, of course. And that's what I don't like about the way this entire thing was presented. They're standing on, to use a Ben Shapiro quip here, they're standing on the corpses of children to make their case. Okay, can you imagine? We go to pull out of the Middle East a little bit, and they start rolling out fucking 9/11 survivors in wheelchairs with cancer, to make embolden police. Like, stop. This, it's what you're doing is not appropriate, and it's not fair, and it is not how you govern a country. It is not how you decide how things should be run. You don't do it in a state of panic. You don't do it in a state of trauma. That is the opposite of how governance works. That's my last piece. Dave, do you have anything?
No, I don't. Yeah. I don't. I think I said what I think about it. I don't know. It's very polarized on both sides. It's like there has to be a spot in the middle for them to meet. But you can't be screaming about taking all the guns, and you can't be screaming about doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Well, this is my concern, Dave. This is my concern. I don't think there's going to be an end to mass shootings anytime soon. Okay. I don't think that anyone has presented tonight from us or the people in Florida would stop mass shootings, or school shootings, or trucks of peace, or pressure cooker bombs,
okay, but hang on.
Well,
okay.
Go ahead.
I already said the point of, so it would, like, our laws would have stopped 2 of the 6 cases that they brought up in the article.
But they would listen to it. So my point isn't that you can't stop it, therefore do nothing. I don't know if you think.
No, but you just said that it wouldn't have changed anything, right? Isn't that what you just said?
Okay. I'm saying that it might change things, it might lessen things, but they are still going to happen. Yes. Maybe to a lesser extent. Let me finish the point that I was making.
Sorry.
Okay. So we make these adjustments. And here, keep in mind that the people on the left, in this town hall meeting, want it to stop. Hashtag never again. That's literally what they're saying. Never again. It's going to happen again. If we find a middle ground, we pass those laws, and it happens again, then what? at a certain point, you have to put the brakes on and say you are infringing on the right to A, keep your person and your family safe, and B, the responsibility of the citizenry to keep the government in check. Mm-hmm. Which is the, it's not, and that is very clear through very many founding fathers quotes, that part of the reason to bear arms is not that you can win in a struggle against the government, but what you can give them is the most documented and the most gruesome guerrilla warfare in history, which, so they can either go along with us or they can rule over the ashes, which is an insurance policy against tyranny. It's either all of us or none of us. Oh. Type of thing. It's not that we think, or anyone reasonable thinks they can beat, the Predator drones. What they think is they might be to shoot a few of them out of the sky. What they think is they're ready to plant some IEDs. What they think is that these weapons make sure there's not some kind of crazy coup d'etat that undermines human rights in general. That's why it's the Second Amendment, is that it assures the other amendments, just like the First Amendment ensures all the other amendments, just like the Third Amendment and the Fourth Amendment. Their purpose is to enshrine life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So the argument that you have to make, in my opinion, is that there is going to be less death in general. There is going to be a increase of life, liberty, and happiness if we take X gun measures, and very few. That should be the argument made, because then we have a stopping ground. Mm-hmm. And it's really important to me that because we can't take away all the guns. It's not going to happen. There has to be a stopping point, and that's the only reasonable point to do something without undermining the idea of the Second Amendment altogether. So that's my official stance.
I think a bigger factor in stopping, because what we're talking about in stopping or not stopping the shootings, but slowing it down, is legal gun owners, right? Like okay, no, it's very rare that illegal guns are used in school shootings and mass shootings. That's usually saved for your inner city gang problems. But I mean, I think a bigger deterrent would be if people knew that in every public school in the United States, a retired trained vet is there, he's stationed there, and he has weapons. That would be a bigger deterrent.
Mike, it would be a bigger deterrent. I would definitely want to make sure that these veterans go through regular, rigorous psychological evaluations.
Of course, 100%.
Of course. I had no doubt that you would agree with me there, Dave. I just felt like it should be articulated that no, we're not going to take Rambo out of the fucking woods and put him in Columbine to stop the shooting.
It could be retired police officers, retired military, people that have had weapons trainings and are of some kind of enforcement background.
People that have proved themselves also that they're not just going to run outside to the western fucking exit and hide and wait.
Or
which is something that happened here.
Or it's not a teacher who's like, welcome to the war zone, kids. Here's my gun. I'm going to accidentally shoot one of you today because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Well, and as far as that goes, what does the teacher do? Strap it to their fucking leg? Mm-hmm. Do they keep it in a drawer? Can you imagine 45 kids in a classroom with some 75-year-old lady? You think some kid's not going to fucking sneak around and grab that gun?
Yeah, I can't remember what state it was, but I read an article today where that happened. And a teacher had a gun, and they left it on the top of the toilet, and the students found it.
Holy shit. One of the teachers stands up in this town hall and also says, would you also train me, with having guns as well as how to educate these children? And also, the first thing the police asked when they got inside was, are there any wounded? Mm-hmm. And the second question they asked was, is anyone armed? And the last thing I want to be is the person that says, I have a gun.
Yeah, it's me. It's me.
Yeah, so, yes. And we saw how that worked for that one fella out in, I don't even remember where it was that was gunned down some months ago. Well, he was going to a couple years ago, but the video came out. It was in some
Yeah.
Las Vegas or
I
some
get
shit.
it. He didn't even say he was armed. He had like a rat pistol in the hotel room.
Yeah,
he just moved, and they blasted his ass. See now.
He sneezed at the inappropriate time.
He was like, "Holy shit, that was egregious." That video.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It really was fucked up. So anyway, I think that concludes tonight's episode. We're definitely going to get back onto the gun topic, at a little later date. I'm going to try to, with my official stance that I put forward at the end here. I'm going to try to approach the question and find out what has worked and what has made things worse. And that's a lofty project. It might take a while, but I'm going to start getting into it. And I'm gonna try to make a Google document that could be passed around the same way we did for Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I would say that like people should just like think about what actually works. What's gonna happen? So if there is an active shooter situation, what laws could be in place that's gonna help law enforcement stop that shooter faster? And what laws can be in place that is going to stop a mentally ill person or a person that has a violent crime history from owning a weapon? And I would go a little bit. I'll go a little bit further and say, if you are not a violent person and you have no violent criminal history, then I would still allow you to own a single bolt action hunting rifle. You would be restricted from handguns and other semi-automatics, AR-15s, and the types of guns like that. But I would allow you to have a single bolt action hunting rifle just because of where I grew up. You actually need one. You know what I mean?
I could believe that, and that's another thing to keep in mind is that there are 1,000 ecosystems and cultures in the United States, and some people need them. We're getting quite lengthy in this. This recording's been running for 2.5 hours, so let's cut this off. Chris, my dark brethren, do you have any final words?
No, not really. Yeah, I mean, I said my piece about it.
Oh, all right. Don't make him tell that bitch twice. You've been listening to Everyone's Wrong. Everyone have a good night.
Alrighty. Later.
You've been listening to the Everyone's Wrong podcast. You can find us on our homepage at Spreaker.com/everyone'swrong. You can also find us on iTunes and YouTube by searching for Everyone's Wrong Podcast, or you can listen to us on your podcast app of choice by importing our RSS feed. You can follow us on Facebook.com/everyone'swrong, or join our closed Facebook group by searching Facebook for Everyone's Wrong After Hours. You can tweet us at wrong_pod or email us at everyone'swrongpodcast@gmail.com.